Hello, good morning, dear students. Greetings of the day. I hope that you are doing well at your home. Okay. During our study, that we have completed chapter number 1, and today onwards, from we are going to start in subject economics, chapter number 2, indicators of growth and development. First, the name of this chapter, that you have to understand what does it mean to indicate. The first one, it is here. What is the title suggest? Indicators. To indicate, to suggest, to show something, parameters, the criterias. Okay, indicators. Suppose in cricket game, now Virat Kohli, Shikhar Dhawan, some of the few players are very good player international. Okay, so how they became very famous? So what indicates their royalty? How they become very famous? What indicates? Okay, so they indicate the hard work, their commitment towards the game, how they are playing the game. So it indicates that, it suggests that he had done lots of things. Indicates, suggests, to show that particular things, particular company want to indicate, want to give some message. Okay, so that we are going to discuss two indicators of growth and development in the economic. Okay, that we have already studied in standard 11 about the growth and the development. Okay, now growth, mostly we have two countries, developed, okay, developed and developing countries. Developing countries. Developed countries. Which are the developed countries? That US, some of the countries in Europe, then Japan, Australia, Italy, England, UK. Okay, so these all are the developed country. So developed countries, what they are doing? They want to develop more and more and more. They want to develop new things. And developing countries like India, Brazil, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, different countries are there. There are total more than 200 countries are registered. Okay, according to the United Nations Organization, okay, UNICEF, UN, and United Nations, UN. Okay, so the developed countries and the developing countries, they are doing growth and development. Most of all these countries, they are doing growth and development. Now, introduction. Have a look on page number 14. What we are going to study in this introduction. So, the most important object of the various countries of the world, more so often the Second World War, has been the attainment of the economic development. Most important thing after the Second World War. Okay, more than 200 countries. Okay, after the year of 1945. Okay, Second World War. They want to attain, all the countries, more than 200 countries. More than 200 countries want to attain. What they want to attain? The development. All the countries want the development. This topic is very important because to indicate a particular country has totally developed. So what they indicate, okay? So after the Second World War has been attainment of the economic development. Now all countries, their main focus only and only the economic development. Why? What happened in Second World War? In Second World War, from all the countries, the soldiers had died, killed, murdered. They waste the public property, private property, the loss of death, the loss of wealth, property, then man-made property, all things destroyed. Economy, there was total poverty, economic degradation, demerits were there. All things reduced, the prices increased, okay, poverty increased, unemployment increased after the Second World War. So all the countries want to develop their nation, develop their people. They want to show the standard living. The main focus after Second World War, the first is economic development. Second is they wanted to increase the standard of living. The standard of living. Not just food, not just the shelter, not just the clothes, basic necessary things, but all government wanted to give their people based services, based products, based goods, based service like health, education, transportation, then proper food, everything, the goods, higher standard living, they wanted to give their people. So main focus was the economic development. Second was to increase the standard of living of each person. So now they were doing on this matter. So how they started after the Second World War? So the nucleus of all economic thinking has been the attainment of the economic development. Only focus is the economic development. But there is a vast difference between the growth and the development. So that we are going to discuss in upcoming time. So the term economic growth and economic development have become popular after the Second World War. Okay, around 1945. It started from the 1939, around 1939 to 1944. Okay, 1944. Around in this year, in between this year, the term economic development and economic growth has been started after the Second World War. After the Second World War. Okay, since the developing country attempted to solve problems like developing nations, which are they? That we have just discussed. Okay, developing countries, which are they? Developing countries like developing countries, which are they? Like India, Middle East countries, some of the European countries also there. Then Nepal, then Pakistan, Bangladesh, then Malaysia. All these things, all the countries are included in the developing country. So after the Second World War, they wanted to increase, they wanted to do the economic development. So economic development, what will be there? The economic development. So they want to provide. So the basic problem that they were facing, like poverty, unemployment, Which are they? Hunger, deaths, inequality. Hunger, deaths, inequality between male and female, male female, male female inequality, inequalities of income, inequalities in income. So all the developing countries, still some of the developing countries are facing the same issue. Okay, unemployment will be there, poverty is still there, then hunger it is there, death, then inequality between the male and female, the position, then income in our country. Okay, the 20% are the rich people, wealthy people, and 80% are included, that the middle class, then poor. Okay, so these people are facing the problems like poverty, unemployment, hunger, death ratio is increasing in this because they have no money, and because of the lack of the money they will not get proper medical help. Okay, medical help they are not getting. Then male female, the distinction between, okay, how the people are treating the girls, women's, the widows, okay, the income and the inequality between in the income. Some of the people are very rich, okay, they don't know how to spend their money. Okay, rich people, rich and poor. Now rich people with this income of inequality in the income, they don't know how to spend their money. Okay, and the poor in the other side, in the same, in the developing countries, they are even not getting proper food for the one day. So they are trying their best for the surviving for the each day. Each day they want to earn some money to feed their tummy, their stomach. Okay, and that's why the inequality in the income. Then wealth distribution, the same thing, wealth distribution. Anil Ambani, Mukesh Ambani, Lakshmi Mittal, then Ratan Tata, then the owner of DMart, then Reliance, then Sahara. So they are very rich people. Rich means very rich. So inequality of the wealth between the rich and the poor. Okay, then it can be said that the awareness level of developing country towards attainment of development increase since developing countries started attempt to reduce the gap in per capita income level with the developed countries. Okay, this is quite easy to understand. Okay, let me give you one more example. Developing countries, what they were doing, very easy to understand. Developed countries, okay, developed countries like US, Canada, then Italy, New Zealand, okay, developed, they are totally developed. So the per capita income of the developing countries and of the developed country. So there is a vast difference between in the per capita income. Suppose the per capita income of the developed country is around 1 lakh per capita income. Then, but in other side, once you notice the per capita income of the developing countries like us, the per capita income is around 20,000, 20 to 30,000 only per capita income. So there is a big gap between 1 lakh and 30,000, 70,000, dear students. Okay. So what the developing country wants to do? They want to reduce this gap. They want to reduce gap of per capita income (PCI). They want to attain the economic development through reduce the gap between per capita income (PCI). One thing. Okay. So, attainment of the development increase since developing countries started attempting to reduce the gap in per capita income level with the developed countries and to increase the standard of living through economic development. Now, so developing country trying to increase the standard of living. Standard of living means proper education, good health, proper transportation, special schemes for the women, children, then old age. Okay, special scheme for all the people. They want to develop. They want to increase the standard of living. Developing countries, so they can reduce the gap between the per capita income. And through this they are trying to attain main focus economic development. They want it to do. Okay, so in this way they are trying to increase. They want to do the development economy by reduce the gap. First step is to reduce the gap between the PCI per capita income between the developed country and the developing nation countries. Second thing, they wanted to increase developing country trying to increase the standard of living. Okay. Second thing, it should be remembered that the need for improving the level of economic development is not for developed countries alone, but also for the developed countries. The same thing they were doing here. Developed countries, they also wanted to increase their per capita income. Not only developing countries doing the same way, but developed countries like US, Canada, they also trying to do their best to develop. Okay, the PCI as well as the standard of living. So we have to update it, the developing countries. Okay. So developing country aim to improving the standard of living, that we have just discussed. Improving the standard of living. Okay. How to give based service, based products in available in the markets. How to sell. How the people will create their own income. Okay. By reducing poverty. So standard of living. How we are going to improve the standard of living? By first step is the reducing the poverty. Okay, developing countries are doing reducing poverty and unemployment ratio. They are not getting proper income throughout the different seasons, throughout the year. So they want to reduce it. They want to reduce the poverty level. They want to reduce the unemployment. So the more people will get more income. If they will not get proper income, how they are going to purchase? Okay, how they are going to buy the different services that are available in the market? If they have no money, Suppose I am unemployed. If I have no money, how can I buy the car? How can I buy that service, goods, products that are available? If I am not buying the things, how that proper company will get the benefit? And this is the proper stage. So through these stages, okay, the per capita income increases, also the standard of living increases. So how the developing country want to reduce the poverty and unemployment? Okay, while the developed countries aim to maintaining the prevailing higher standard of living. Another side, so this kind of their developing country wanted to do these 2 points. But what about the developed countries? Developed country, they are trying to maintain the service as well as the standard of living. They want to always maintain, and afterwards they are trying to improve it. Okay, it should not be decreased, it should not be reduced, but it should be increased, level up, growth, development. Okay, if you think this way, maintaining economic growth is the aim of developed countries, and attaining speedy economic development is the prime requirement of developing countries. Right now, coronavirus is going on, and throughout the year, we have faced lots of difficulties, financial difficulties, social difficulties. Number of people, according to the data, 2 crore people in India, 2 crore people lost their job. If they are not getting proper job, the poverty will increase, the unemployment ratio will be increased. Okay, so the main focus of the developing country is to reduce the poverty, reduce the unemployment ratio. So government of India, for an example, what they are trying to do, they are reducing the poverty and unemployment, and that's why they are giving the jobs, they are providing the different schemes for the unemployers. Okay, so they will try their best, the government. Okay, speedy economic development, the prime focus of the developing countries. Okay, so general economic development and economic growth are considered to be the same. Economic development, if we are study about the growth and the development, it will look like very same. Okay, but in the past the words growth and development were used to interchangeably, but few economists have always considered economic growth and development as different. Both are the different according to the different economists. Okay, so according to Professor Mrs. Ursula Hicks, again I am going to let's define the some of the definition of economic development and growth. Okay, so let's start that topic. According to economic development and economic growth, both in the past they considered that both were the same, but according to the different economists, the growth and the development both are different according to the various economists. Okay, so according to Mrs. Ursula Hicks, underline it. Ursula Hicks. Okay, according to Ursula Hicks, the solution for the economic problems of developing country is economic development, and for the developed country it is the economic growth. The solution Okay. The solution for the economic problem. Which are the economic problem that we have just discussed? Poverty, unemployment, then difference between the income rich and poor. So these are the problems that developing countries are facing. So economic problems of developing countries is economic development. Economic development. Economic development. If suppose in India, I am giving you an example. India are facing right now the problem, economic problems like poverty. Okay, right now, unemployment. These two are the major problems of India, developing nations. So if India is working on these two matters, if they reduce the poverty, if they reduce the unemployment, so it will come that they are solving the economic problem, and through this problem solving, India is developing to reduce the poverty and the unemployment. Okay. So economic development for the developing countries is economic development. So economic development for the developing country is to resolve all these things, and for the developed country is to economic growth. Okay, and for the developed countries, if the developed countries they are facing this issue, for them it is the economic growth. Economic growth for the developed country. Okay, in this way you can easily understand developing countries, developing nations, and the developed countries, economic growth and economic development. Okay, so meaning of economic growth. Okay, meaning of economic growth. So that we are going to study now. Okay, economic growth.